We pick up in the morgue of Ceres, but it's not Miller's partner that he's looking at. It's that dead guy he found that was part of his trail to Julie Mao. Well, autopsies are done in a more sophisticated way in the future. He slid into a machine and he's scanned. I mean, I'm assuming he's being scanned. I could be a whole bunch of knives and buzzsaws, I suppose. I guess we'll find out if they open the door and a couple quarts of blood come pouring out. The system IDs him as Busy Batico. B-I-Z-I, not that he has a lot of things to do. On the Donager, Holden says everything about Naomi is guesswork. Maybe she's hiding something? That doesn't mean she's OPA. Or even a terrorist, for that matter. As we said, there's OPA and there's OPA. There's people trying to work towards rights for belters and to stop oppression, and there's asshats who will literally nail you to the wall just for existing. Well, the captain points out that Holden sounds pretty skeptical for a guy who falsely accused them of committing an act of war because he found a box with "From Mars" crayoned on the side. Okay, well, that's an exaggeration, but it is a slight one. As discussed with the book, Holden's presumption that you can just lay facts out there and let people reach their own conclusions, while generally laudable, has the problem that facts don't necessarily lead to truthful conclusions. I mean, that is why the term circumstantial evidence exists. The guy who was doing the interrogation earlier points out that Holden has potentially started a war over a lie. By blaming it on Naomi, it buys time for them to find out what really happened. And while that's an understandable position to take, I'm not sure I would want to be Naomi and hope that anyone cared enough to find the real culprit or just leave her as the scapegoat. In any case, that ship is proving to be the real problem, as it's not one ship that's chasing them, it's a bunch huddled together to hide their numbers, meaning shit might be about to get real. When the other 4 survivors of the Canterbury see the battle lighting come on and hear torpedoes launching, they figure they should probably strap in, as yes indeed, fecal matter has formed an ordered field that is dedekind complete. After the titles, the Admiral tells Avasarala about the fight, but that there's heavy jamming. There's nothing they could tell for sure right now. And that's that. A thing to note is that in the books, Avasarala doesn't appear until the second one, Caliban's War. All the stuff involving her is created for this series to help establish her for when she plays the more prominent role in the next story. But as a consequence, Avasarala is reacting to events, not participating in events. The plot is from the novel, where she didn't appear. This is not to say that these scenes are pointless, only that they are pointless as far as the direction of the plot goes. But this allows her UN plot in the next stage of the storyline to arrive fully formed. We know the players, we know her agenda, we know how she operates, we know the world she walks in. So that's important to be aware of. Things that Avasarala is involved in don't matter beyond building her world. The interrogator talks to Holden about the stories his great-uncle used to tell about Earth after he emigrated to Mars, and wonders why, when Earth has so much going for it, such wondrous impossibilities compared to the rest of the solar system, that everyone on Earth so takes it for granted. When Holden points out that the ship shows Martians have similar problems, this guy really lets fly about the self-absorption of Earth's people and the system that supports them. Almost feels like the only reason he doesn't want a war is he doesn't want to see the terraforming project set back. Well, the missiles arrive, but the PDCs that are there to destroy the missiles first intercept, but barely. The missiles are a lot better than the simulations, so we're going to have to hope we stay ahead on points. Back on Ceres, as Holden is starting to appear in graffiti saying, "Remember the can't," Miller goes looking into Busy's background. It leads to a slingshot club, charting courses around the solar system using gravity. With Julie's history with the Razorback, it's possible she might have chartered a ship here, except Miller learns that the real Busy Batico is out flying around the solar system. He's not dead. Well, okay, he is now, but I don't think there's going to be an autopsy. Meanwhile, at a new place, Tycho Station, we see the construction of the LDSS Nauvoo. LDSS stands for Latter-day Saint ship, the largest one they've had since the Mormonmobile. The guy overseeing the construction is one Fred Johnson, who's a member of the OPA.
The OPA is only interested in human rights and jobs for all Belters.
Yeah, that's the thing about being an Outer Planets alliance. You're a lot of people who have a general interest in the same thing, but very strong differences of opinion on others, like, say, nailing someone to a wall with a spike. Unless you want to count that as a job, but I really don't think that's filling a market niche. When that doesn't win the guy over, Johnson points out that without him, they are entrusting their best and brightest, taking a 100-year voyage to another star in something that was built by second stringers. I'm not sure how many volunteers you're going to get when they find that out. After the guy reconsiders being hasty, Johnson explains that some tests are needed, so the Mormons need to leave. But the reality is that he wants to use the advanced sensors that they already have installed in order to find out what's up with the Donager. What's happening is that they're engaged in CQB, close quarters battle, like the title says. At this range, it's railguns, but it's also possible to see them too, and Holden recognizes the attacking ship from the one on the Canterbury. But over in the guest suite, or whatever, there's been a development. Oh, great, and he was the doctor. Who's supposed to know how to treat him now? As bad as that is, the more immediate problem is that they have 2 holes in the wall, which is not good even if you're not in space. They have to improvise seals to avoid asphyxiating, but they're used to having to act under pressure. And finally, we can all breathe a little easier. Literally. Those of us with a face, I mean. On the bridge, Holden is freed from his restraints, but all he does is try to help an injured Martian. The interrogator, turns out his name is Lopez, has Holden tell the captain about these ships, looking like the ones that blew up the Canterbury, and right about the time that the attackers begin boarding actions. Lopez is to get Holden and the rest out of here, which won't be easy because much of the ship is a vacuum, a problem for the trio that are still alive in the waiting room. Naomi suggests one of them could be sedated to use less air, but Alex is the most logical one to get knocked out. Amos is needed to carry the unconscious person, and Naomi might be needed for technical solutions. It also gives those two a quiet moment together. Not for romance, but they have a strong history that Amos appreciates especially, and why he's so loyal to her. And speaking of loyalty...
You know what really chaps my ass? The fact that I'm here protecting some lousy earth taker while my ship's getting pounded and my buddies are dying.
Yeesh, accuse you of war crimes and you never let it go. Turns out that the others aren't being invited along for the trip, which Holden has a problem with. So when the boarders arrive, he runs off to retrieve them too. Meanwhile on Ceres, Miller brings in his not really a partner to discuss the dead guy. Seems that every time he gets scanned, a different ID comes up. She says this is all thanks to an expensive gizmo he's got installed that can spoof IDs in order to throw off cops. A search of other implants reveals a memory crypt in his leg, and after a few false starts, Miller manages to pull it out. Better than I thought. I assumed he was going to pull out a saw or something. They don't know the details. This is encrypted. The chip, not the leg. But it's clear that he's some kind of data broker. The dead guy's not the only one with secrets. Miller won't tell her what this is about, and Havelock, his partner, isn't answering since he's dead. Oh, sorry about that. Guess I was jumping to conclusions. Well, at least we've proven he's not a vampire. Speaking of, I'm not dead yet, Holden comes across one of his own on the Donager, a bad guy.
Let go. Don't make me shoot you.
You won't.
Oh, biometric locks. I hate those things. It goes against everything RPG looting should stand for. They try questioning the guy, but he doesn't say much and isn't going to make it anyway. Holden makes a deal that they will all testify that Mars wasn't responsible for what happened to the Canterbury, so long as they all live to actually do so. So while the others suit up, except for Shed, seeing as how his helmet won't fit right anymore, Holden asks Lopez what is the deal with Phoebe Station. Everyone has a bug up their ass about it, and he has no idea why. The thing is, they don't know why either. That is, why whatever happened, happened. Phoebe Station went dark. When they arrived, everyone was dead and the computer cores were destroyed. Something happened there and was covered up. And now I've got to take Phoebe Station off my list of vacation destinations thanks to this. The captain is getting ready to scuttle the ship, so the team's going to have to hurry to get to the Martian Corvette in the hangar. There's a lot of bad guys, though. Amos gets shot, and as if that isn't bad enough, the engines turn off, meaning no acceleration, meaning no simulated gravity, meaning Holden and Naomi are suddenly airborne. So long, sucker! With that boost, he can reach the floor, maglock himself to it, and pull her back down. They make it, as does Lopez, but he's badly wounded, and he can't pilot. He unlocks full control for the other four of them to ensure they can get to their destination, which is important because they're still being shot at. Ha! How do you like that? How's it like that? They blast their way out and take off, but Lopez is near the end, and the Doniger actually is at the end. It self-destructs while the Tachi makes its getaway with a doped-up pilot. Where will he take them? We'll find out in Episode 5.